Well, that deadline came and went, and the Chiefs didn't do squat. Why is that? We're going to break it down here on RGR. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue. Like I do. You guys know that. And today I'm going to be a little bit more rogue than normal because pretty disappointed that the Kansas City Chiefs were not able to get anything done for their needs, for their wants, for their wishes, for all the things that we have talked about over the last few weeks in particular. Make sure you like, sub, hit the bell, and you can hear more of this discussion. May even put a rant together in the member section because this is unfortunate at best. A lot of moves were made today, but I will explain why I'm disappointed and B, why it didn't happen. I'm disappointed because this team has constantly, for the last 18 months, not prioritized the two positions of need that they have had the most in the defensive line and the running back room. That didn't change today. They weren't able to do it. As we have reports, as the deadline came down, they were in on several players. One was they made an offer for Breece Hall. A lot of you fans had been wanting him as an option in the Chiefs' backfield. And they did make an offer. They were willing to go to a fourth-round pick, but they're not willing to give up a top 100 for a running back. It just ain't in the cards. And I agree with Brett Veach on that. A top 100 running back, especially one that's been injured and one that's coming on a second contract, that just is not a recipe for success. But they tried, and they tried to do a fourth, and the Jets just wouldn't take it. They took every damn thing else, but they wouldn't do that. So I think in the end, it was worth the try, but they didn't get it done, and I'm okay with that one. What's really weird, though, is the Jets sold off and broke down their defense. Evidently, the Chiefs were also interested in Jermaine Johnson. I don't particularly care for his style of play or his locker room presence myself. Now, maybe he's matured in the couple of years since the last time I spoke to him, but when I did, I was not impressed. So I was not keen for him to make it to the Chiefs locker room either, and that didn't happen, so I'm good with that. But they did sell off Sauce Gardner, and they did sell off Quinnen Williams, and either of those players could have been game-changing here in Kansas City. Now, obviously, Sauce you're not going to pay for. Williams, the contract was lower, and you hate to see him go to the Cowboys, but it was something they could have tried to work out, and I think if you were able to sell the farm and you were willing to give that up, I think that was an investment worth making, Quinnen Williams, especially next to Chris Jones, because that changes the whole thing that your front's able to do. He's a guy that Steve Spagnuolo likes. I know they liked him coming out. Obviously, he's a high-caliber player. Was that in the cards without redoing multiple contracts on the Chiefs' current roster? Probably not. And that's probably what changed it. But I like the concept of it. Also heard that they were in on Bradley Chubb. I think Nate put that out on radio today. So check back with him. He probably has more details than what I had heard as well. But Bradley Chubb was a second-tier pass rusher in terms of my mind, as was Jermaine Johnson. They were not the elitists, but they were able to get something done. And had they been able to pull that off, I do think that could have probably helped a little bit, shore up the defensive line. Now, Jalen went from Miami as well and did get traded, and that was, I believe it was a third-round pick. I could have lived with that probably. Now for running back, but for an edge, yeah, I could live with that. So the fact that they were in on Chubb and not on Jalen tells you Jalen Phillips is not the style of player that they were after. And again, I think they would have been willing for a player of that caliber to give up a third. I think they could have gotten that done. I think this really was the difference, that Chubb plays like a Spags D-end, like a George Karlaftis, like a Charles Omenihu, with length and power, not with speed and quickness. It is not the style of play that the Jalen Phillips has that fit what Spags wanted to do. So I think that's why they didn't get that done either. So from the East Coast teams that are melting down, you can look for those guys in the offseason, but it doesn't help you now. And so you're left with picking up the pieces. Mike Pennell played some good snaps the other night, and I think he's giving them what they really need to have, to tell you the truth. Sorry, it's not super windy out here, but I'm not walking today. Twisted my ankle, so I'm just trying to get the right angle here so you guys don't get blinded by the sun. Maybe I just need to face that way. There we go. Whoop. Let's not fall off the deck either. So in the end, I think what has to happen is a redoubling of effort. Josh Simmons in the house, that certainly helps the offensive line settle down, but doesn't help the defense at all. So what else can you do? I don't think there's going to be any other cuts. I don't think you're going to be able to pick up any other free agents that can really change it for you. So you're going to have to make do with what you have. You have to make these guys perform better. Spags is always good with that after the bye, and he's able to get more out of his players than maybe most people think that he should be able to get. So we're going to have to rely on him to do the job that he generally has been able to do and get that done. So what happens next? Well, they're going to take their time. They are going to enjoy their time off, and they're going to get some well-needed rest. Then they got to come back with intensity, and that's what's got to happen in this next week. I'm going to talk in the next couple of days with what's going on with Josh Simmons as he tries to reacclimate, right, on the offensive side of the ball. That'll be one thing. The defense has to get right with being able to show up every damn week and not take things lightly and not take weeks off and not get yourself in a position where you're getting beat up. Now, I don't believe that James Cook's performance against them was the reason that they lost. I do think some of it was situational football, letting Josh Allen get into the tush-push type situations, which, by the way, I don't think you're going to have to deal with much longer. I do think they're probably going to take that out of the game this offseason because they can't referee it and they can't get a whistle blown consistently when forward momentum is stopped. So now there's two officiating angles that are problematic with the play, and I think the owners are just going to choose to move on. So maybe we won't have to deal with that too much longer, but in the end, it's situational football that got you that loss. It was a couple of problems, obviously. Anytime you turn the ball over, not a great thing. Not going to help you get the W, but you do have recourses that you can go after. Now, I think that they still have it in them. I'm not convinced that they're done. A lot of people feel like they're cooked this particular week. They need this bye week, and they do generally do better when they have a late bye week. So I'm glad that it's now, and I do feel like they're going to be able to get some momentum back. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be everything that they need? I don't know. We're going to find out because this is where the rubber hits the road. Should they fail to make the playoffs, if they lose another 2 games and somehow don't make it, this is going to be an epically lost season, like a wasted season of Patrick Mahomes playing some of his best ball. But there are also some indicators that despite a couple of failures here, including this Bills game, which I don't really count as a failure, I had that down as a loss all season long. In every prediction I made, I expected that outcome. They're still getting 68% of their drives are ending in a first down, or their first drives are ending in a first down, meaning they're moving the ball well. 10% of them are getting into the end zone on the first drive. This is still an efficient team, and they're still getting a lot of things done. They're still up there, and I don't know who put that graphic out. I'd have to go back and look it back up, but I think it's very telling about the way that they and the Colts move. Now, the Colts, on the other side of the Sauce Gardner trade, they got better. And they got better in one specific way that hurts the Chiefs, and that is defending not just the long ball, but the get-off, the early routes where Tyquan Thornton has to win in order to stretch his legs out, where Xavier Worthy usually gets an edge. Like Sauce Gardner being there changes the math in the secondary the Chiefs are going to face when they play Indianapolis. That's going to be a much bigger game than it was just a couple hours ago. So we'll break that down when it comes. And we'll have more as we find out what other things they tried to do that we're not aware of at this point, but I'll have it all for you as we get more information. Thanks for being with us. Check out Dan tomorrow, and we're going to get ready. Don't miss us. We're going to be here all week long as they get ready for the bye and get ready for next week, coming back strong. Thanks for being with us. I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.